10th, 2025. Let me make sure it's the 10th. I actually don't know. Yeah, it's the 10th. This episode is brought to you by Zayuk and our smart property system. So if you live in an HOA, if you're in a shared property ownership model, which could be a co-op, it really could be anything, even an REIT. But our preliminary product is tailored towards HOAs, and our smart property system defines asset ledger hygiene, provides collection systems, provides meetings and AI summaries on those meetings, work order systems, and it all runs through a digital thread. So it's a really powerful system, and we're finding people are really interested in it, especially with the integrated reserves. It's pretty powerful. So all right, give me one moment. All right, there we go. So at this point, let me just go in through some articles again. Only 12 U.S. states require HOAs to maintain cash reserve plans. What owners should know. The condo crisis in Florida is worrisome, to say the very least. Aging properties, stricter structural and cash reserve funding laws due to the Surfside collapse, and skyrocketing association fees have made life harder for condo owners in the Sunshine State. Speaking of cash reserve funding laws, if you're thinking of buying a condo anywhere in the U.S., you should be aware that only 12 U.S. states, including Florida, legally require condo/HOA associations to maintain formal cash reserve plans or studies, and even fewer require full funding. But what exactly does this mean? Well, some condo owners in those states may be better protected against surprise assessments. Others, however, may face painful dues hikes or special assessments that could make living in an HOA financially unattainable. What is an HOA cash reserve, and how does it differ from a special assessment? Put simply, a cash reserve is a fund that an HOA is legally required to maintain in order to cover future maintenance, repairs, and emergency costs. These reserves are based on projections of future needs and are meant to ensure the long-term upkeep and safety of the community. In contrast, a special assessment is an unplanned additional charge levied on homeowners when unexpected issues arise that reserves can't cover. ... Which 12 states require reserve funds and what makes each law unique? Association directors, members who elect to fund reserves, whether by choice or requirement, are better positioned to manage future repair costs, avoid special assessments, and maintain the long-term financial stability and property values of their communities. So first, there's Florida. Following the Champlain Towers collapse, Florida enacted a law requiring condominium associations to conduct structural reserve studies every 10 years and fully fund those reserves by the end of 2024. While this regulation is a critical step for the life, safety, and long-term property value, it can be painful for current owners. Yes, many associations, especially those that historically deferred maintenance to save costs, now face steep financial catch-ups. And it's part of the insurance hike that you're seeing. I mean, these buildings are getting older. A lot of buildings were built, 50 years ago, and life cycles for many items are around 50 years. So it becomes fairly difficult. Properties that fall behind on reserves not only risk safety, but suffer significant financial consequences. After all, disrepair affects a unit's resale value, refinancing options, and the association's ability to borrow. In extreme cases, banks may refuse to lend for purchases in underfunded buildings, limiting sales to all cash buyers and dramatically reducing market value. Exactly. Yeah. So if you're going to purchase into an underfunded building, there's going to be maintenance costs on that. There's going to be likely assessment costs on that. And the more you pay in that assessment, the less value the actual price of the property would be, relative to if you had no assessments, the building is funded well. I mean, it's like when people purchase HOAs or shared property, I think the amount of business that goes into managing that property is overlooked significantly. And Another thing is the fact that that building and that property or those buildings run as a business, a nonprofit business usually, but run as a business. And so it's, and many people don't have, the business acumen to understand what that means. Like, what does that mean in terms of their investment? What does that mean in terms of them purchasing in to be a member of the association, being a member of the property, owning that property in the short term and in the long term? And that needs to be, communicated more. Not just communicated more, but actually understood more acutely. People should understand that they are purchasing into a business, so they have liabilities as a business owner. And, unlike for-profit businesses like a stock, this is a nonprofit business. You're purchasing in, to live there, for a rental property, whatever the reason may be. And that's why it's so important to understand the financial hygiene and the physical hygiene, which is where our property inspections, which are reserve study inspections as well, reviewed by licensed engineers, really help, because we combine the physical and the digital. And most properties, depending on which state you're in, at the minimum, all properties should have reserve study inspections every year. And with our inspections, we document the status of the hygiene of your assets. So what's the status of your balcony? What's the status of structural integrity? What's the status of roofing? And using reality capture technology, and integrate that within your entire system. And by entire system, I mean general property management suite, which includes collections, invoicing, smart contracts with e-signatures, work orders against those contracts, such as tickets or violations or service requests. And so I'm going back to it. Can homeowners negotiate reserve levels or special assessments? In states where reserves are mandated by statute, there's no negotiation. Complying with them is required by law. Rarely, an association might request a payment plan from regulators to catch up, but this is generally discouraged. For special assessments, negotiation may be possible, especially at the implementation level. As a homeowner, you can attend budget and board meetings to gain a better understanding of the necessary maintenance and repair projects. So understand, a lot of people, they want to purchase real estate and they kind of want that to just make money for them. And it's like, you hear it's safe, and generally it is safe. We're seeing a dip in several states that were very popular. And one of the reasons that the value of Florida real estate is dipping is because of insurance and how big of a deal this is becoming, for homeowners and for anyone. So instant legislation limits HOA enforcement in California. We have a right to assume that state laws are a result of careful deliberation and public disclosure. However, that was not the case with Assembly Bill 130 passed by the legislature on June 30th and signed by the governor that same day. The new law took effect the next day, July 1st. The bill was a major housing initiative that the governor introduced in January, and until June had no impact on HOAs. However, on June 25th, an amendment was inserted into the bill, sharply changing HOA disciplinary process and cutting back on HOA disciplinary powers. The amendment was never subjected to any public hearing and became law 5 days later when the governor signed AB 130 into law. As a result, Civil Code Sections 5850 and 5855 have been substantially amended, and tens of thousands of California HOAs are immediately in violation of this law 6 days after the change in the law was initially proposed. The new law significantly limits HOA rule and CC&R enforcement by capping fines at $100 per violation, unless the rule violated prevents causing danger or property damage problems. Such a finding must be expressly included in the rule if a larger fine is to be specified. So HOAs should review the rules carefully and insert that finding in rules protecting person or property to legitimize fines of more than $100. So, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. AB 130 further limits HOA enforcement ability by converting disciplinary hearing notices to warnings. Under a new addition to Section 5855, members may not be disciplined if they cure the violation before the hearing, or if curing the violation takes time, they provide a financial commitment to cure it. So one may ask, how does the HOA fine a homeowner who has a loud party keeping their neighbors up until 2 a.m.? The noise event is over well before the hearing, so is the HOA banned from imposing discipline for the unneighborly behavior? It is extremely disappointing to see instant laws made in backrooms such as this last-minute addition to AB 130. This seems like a very difficult law that can easily be taken advantage of on both sides. I mean, on the side of a homeowner if they so wanted. I'm not going to continue speaking on that, but we'll see how that one plays out. So, all right, so let's just... A homeowner association fined a man for handing out water in the heat. A homeowner in Goodyear, Arizona is locked in a dispute with his homeowners association over his practice of distributing free cold water from his driveway. David Martin, who has been handing out bottles of water to neighbors and passerby, spoke to reports. It's for the kids, it's for the delivery driver, it's for the couple holding hands walking down the street, it's for the little kid who has to walk his dog in the heat, Martin told the outlet. The Canyon Trails HOA and its management company, FS Residential, began issuing citations to Martin last year for having a cooler in his driveway. Although the citations ceased by media coverage, they resumed a few months ago, accompanied by $100 fines. Neighbor Rich Kaustis expressed confusion over the HOA's actions, saying, "I have no idea why they are coming down on him. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Here we are in July, the hottest day of the year. It's still talking about water cooler with free cold water," Martin told the station. "It's ridiculous that they are adding violations to a total that's not going to get paid because I'm giving out free cold water." In response, Martin has initiated a petition drive gathering over 100 signatures to remove the 3 HOA board members. "I'm hoping with 3 new board members that get elected that they'll see what wasting time and money on a water cooler that's helping the community is just that, a waste." Wow. Fines can backfire. It seemed to have done that right there. Okay. Now this is from KTLA 5. EAG opens lending access for seniors in non-compliant SB 326 condo buildings. SB 326 delays may block seniors from tapping home equity. EAG's reverse mortgages help older condo owners unlock funds and retire securely despite HOA issues. For many older Americans, the home represents independence, stability, and the legacy of a life well lived. According to a 2025 survey by Point, 84% of older homeowners say aging in place is a priority, with 58% calling it critical. But for many older Californians living in condominiums, that goal is now under pressure due to widespread delays in compliance with Senate Bill 326, which is a Senate bill relating to balcony hygiene, the hygiene and structural maintenance of balconies. In response, Equity Access Group is stepping in with jumbo reverse mortgage solutions that provide seniors aged 55 and over a way to unlock their home equity, even if their HOA has yet to meet the updated SB 326 requirements. SB 326 compliance delays are creating financial gaps for seniors. Originally enacted in 2019 following the Berkeley balcony collapse, SB 326 requires all condominium homeowners associations with exterior elevated elements such as balconies and walkways to complete safety inspections by licensed structural engineers every 9 years. Although the inspection deadline was recently extended from January 2025 to January 1, 2026, many HOAs remain non-compliant due to funding shortages. So that's a new access to equity. EAG reverse mortgage programs allow qualified homeowners to 1. Eliminate monthly mortgage payments, 2. Convert equity into tax-free funds, 3. Remain in their homes during HOA inspection delays, 4. Cover living costs, healthcare expenses, or special assessments. A delayed market, but a clear need. So that's very good for California seniors that they're able to access their equity. Okay, so that's about it for HOA. I'm actually going to get a little bit into drones. Yeah, so if you're not interested, no worries. I'm just going to do one article on drones. Let's see. Not war drones, though. It's a little much. How about this? Arizona Fire Department. Okay, not this one. All right, let's do this. Since we're in cyber, the U.S. has become terrifyingly vulnerable to Chinese drone sabotage. New moves to restrict China's ownership of American farmland closed a loophole that left military bases at risk. I can't read this, unfortunately. Well, maybe, yeah, I mean, we might skip that then. Give me a moment. I mean, everything with drones is relating to war in Russia and Ukraine. I mean, drones right now are being used for, military items, but their utility in everyday work is obvious. And we use them for our reality capture inspections. And these are highly accurate drones. The models they produce of property are accurate within 2 to 3 centimeters based on their GPS technology. And, they give you documentation that is, no trust except in the technology and those pictures. But those are verification of what the property state is and what the property ownership is like. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. July 10th. Happy 250th year of the United States of America. Big 250, gonna complete 250 years of an incredible run as a country, and really grateful